Hey guys, Lemon02. I'm currently getting ready to replay a recorded match against player Sung and myself. Unbeknownst to me in this, she's going to be playing White Weenie, and I'm going to be playing with a new deck that I built for the format due to unbanning. So, Oath of Druids and Demonic Tutor were 2 of 5 cards that were recently unbanned, to include Birthing Pod, and Tomb and Wheel of Fortune as well. So this deck exploits both Demonic Tutor and Oath of Druids, so it's a 2-creature deck that seeks to win the game through use of resolution of Oath of Druids, and then getting an Emrakul or a Runescarred Demon to control the board, and then eventually get into an Emrakul to win the game. It has a few other things going on, so it's essentially a Loam Shell that can also utilize the Thespian Stage Dark Depths combo to win the game with Infinite Recursion. Which is, a trick that the deck can run if, for some reason Oath becomes unviable. So my opponent plays out a turn 1 Student of Warfare. I play out my Breeding Pool, which I drew for the turn, tapped because I don't really have much else to do, and I have Brainstorm in my hand, so I really don't want to burn off a Brainstorm. Well, I have a fetch land in hand, making it obviously much better. Opponent attacks here, plays out something we really don't want to see, which is a Smuggler's Copter. Smuggler's Copter is a really bonkers card in the aggro decks because this deck that I'm playing runs cards like Damnation and Toxic Deluge to get rid of creature threats, but Smuggler's Copter is one of those cards that is extremely annoying, along with Mishra's Factory, that are basically creatures when you want them to be and not creatures when you don't want them to be. And it also plays very well around instant speed removal. Find a Wasteland to deal with at least one of those. Go ahead and fetch here. Kill the 1/1. I figure this is going to force my opponent to play a creature card out and not attack with their Mishra's Factory because they'll want to get the loot off the Smuggler's Copter. Plus, it just does more damage. So I think that was the right line there. Go to our next turn. I do go ahead and go for a Nature's Lore here. Obviously, Wasteland Recursion's a thing, and I have it available to me right now, but it's not very good against White Weenie, so I'm not going to go into like a Wasteland Recursion turn. I go to a Nature's Lore, find a land, play my Wasteland, so I've still made my land drop off Nature's Lore and Wasteland to destroy their Mishra's Factory to cut them down on mana and to get rid of a 2/2 threat. Now, what I'm kind of go for here is I'm trying to set up Dig Through Time. I want to Dig Through Time and try to get into a win con. So what I do here is Sylvan Scrying to find Glacial Chasm. What my thinking is that they're going to continue to try to grow their board horizontally, even though they have not to this point. And what I want to do is I want to find a way to set up Oath. And then when I can get Oath online, I have this Forbidden Orchard, which can, keep them at higher creature parity than me. And I have this Glacial Chasm with Loam, which means I can keep, myself safe on their turn. They can't attack and hurt me or damage me. And on my turn, I can just sacrifice the Glacial Chasm, get it back with Loam, replay it, go down a land drop every turn because I don't have Fast Bond or Exploration in play, but essentially allow me to attack and them not to. Which is kind of how I'm going to trap them, or I'm trying to trap them. So I go ahead and fetch here, end up finding the Tropical Island, and I go for a Treasure Cruise here, leaving 1 fetch land in my graveyard just in case I need to make a land drop that's not Forbidden Orchard. So I get lucky here. I find Oath of Druids. I was kind of hoping to find like Oath of Druids, Muddle the Mixture, or Demonic Tutor, so I can set up on the next turn with Oath, and I find what I need, which is good. I actually had her, so the reason I did this is kind of in a weird sequence. I actually had her on Aven Mind Sensor there, not that card. That card is very good, though, especially if you run a lot of Anthem effects, and I don't see a lot of people play it, so I'd like to just give it a quick promo. Secure the Waste, instant, create X 1/1 warrior tokens. White X. It's actually a very good spell, and I don't see a lot of folks play it, oddly enough. So, just of note for the White Weenie players out there. Believe she plays out a Palace Jailer, so my guess is she probably doesn't know quite what we're on yet. She probably has a decent idea. I mean, we appear to be a Loam deck very much so. We're definitely not a mid-range bug deck because we haven't played anything other than like 1 kill spell and a Treasure Cruise yet. So I don't think she puts us on just like standard, bug mid-range. I think she probably puts us on Loam or Oath. But she continues to play into it. I think this is still a fine play, even though this card would have been good against whatever my Oath bot would have been. But in this case, it's going to draw a lot of extra cards, and I can't attack her for at least 2 turns. So we get hit down to, I believe, 6 here. 4, correction, 4. So I tap my land, sack my land after playing the Glacial Chasm because I'm dead on the next turn, play out the Oath, and now I'm protected on her turn from damage. She'll still likely attack with her Smuggler's Copter just to get the loot effect, which she does. So the way this Oath deck works is I can Oath into one of two targets. Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, or of the Aeon's Torn, I believe, or Runescarred Demon. A lot of decks will probably run Gristlebrand. I kind of like Runescarred better in this build of it because Gristlebrand's cool, but if I Oath into Gristlebrand on a losing board position, then it's not going to win me the game if they have removal. Runescarred Demon can, though. So Runescarred Demon can come out, and in a board position like this, like, you know, if she has anything that kills a creature, like, Gristlebrand does nothing. Whereas Runescarred Demon, if that's what I find, can get me, like, Damnation, and I can just blow up the board and be good with it. Now, in this case, it wouldn't be great because Smuggler's Copter is still a thing. But that's kind of my thinking behind Runescarred Demon. I think it's just a better control card than Gristlebrand is to a small extent. Especially if you're planning on not playing the game for more than an additional turn after you get Runescarred Demon. So I have to sack the Glacial Chasm here. I get the Demon, find Damnation, play out my land, and just go ahead and blow up the Thalia. I go down to 2. I want to save the Glacial Chasm so I don't have to loam this turn because it'll take me down off of mana to cast Damnation if I have to. So my opponent now has a Planeswalker, which is not great for me. I obviously cannot keep Glacial Chasm around here. So I do find the Emrakul. Another interesting card in this deck that I failed to highlight. 'Cause if you haven't played Oath before, some of these cards are kind of weirdo cards. So this is a good game Oath tech card right here. Dragon's Breath. Enchant creature has haste. You can give it fire breathing if you want. And converted mana cost, or when a creature with converted mana cost 6 or greater comes into play, then if this thing is in your graveyard, it comes back out and can attach to it if you'd like it to. So I now have an Emrakul with this thing. However, Emrakul was my second to last card in my deck, so I drew into Windswept Heath, which is my dead last card, and now I'm going to mill because I cannot actually win this turn because she has made her Smuggler's Copter aptly indestructible, which means she can block the Emrakul and stay alive. So part of the reason I got Damnation was twofold. Like, one, I knew I probably didn't need it because I could use Loam Recursion to get the Glacial Chasm. But the other reason I got it is because if this exact sequence happened, because I'm only running 2 creatures, then I can Damnation my own board and hers after making her sack 6 permanents to stay alive, to get Emrakul to reshuffle my graveyard back into my library. The problem with this is it's going to leave one turn where I am prone to like her dropping a 1-drop creature and activating her Smuggler's Copter and killing me, which is like the only weakness of this line. But I mean, I really couldn't play around that. I think this was playing to my ounce the best. So I attack with both creature cards. I do send one at the Gideon, if I'm not mistaken, because I really need Gideon to die. I'm shocked she doesn't just sack it to save an additional permanent here, but she does not. Cool, man. So, blocks with her indestructible Smuggler's Copter. It's a very, very tough Smuggler's Copter. I go ahead and Raven's Crimer here because I still have enough mana to cast Damnation, and if I'm lucky, she'll get rid of a 1-drop out of her hand. She gets rid of a land, so, I mean, it makes sense to do that regardless, because the lands are going to do me no good at this point in time. Now, I've lost my my Glacial Chasm, which is kind of problematic, because that was kind of how I intended on keeping her from winning the game. But now that she's passed it and done nothing, I feel very confident, because I'm able to get the Forbidden Orchard out and utilize Miscalc to counter any spell she may cast. Any creature spell specifically. She goes ahead and casts Dismember here. I figure with her drawing 2 extra cards, or an extra card a turn off of the Monarchy token, it's worth countering even if it's not a creature, because, it's just a lot of cards she's going to see before I'm able to get Oath to work. Oath works, I find the Emrakul, get the Fire Breathing. Now, I make a mistake here, actually. I wasn't paying attention. Like, I don't normally think of Dragon's Breath as a fire-breathing spell. I normally just think of it as a combo card. I should have actually tapped my Forbidden Orchard for red mana and pumped my Emrakul to a 16-15 to kill her outright that turn. Not that it makes a significant difference in the game, but it is technically correct just to win right there, so she can't draw an additional card. Alright, game 2. Obviously we lose this one because it's a 3-game match set. This hand is not good, but it does have Demonic Tutor, which can find my my Oath, and it has Glacial Chasm, which can buy me some time. Unfortunately, I drew the worst card in my deck, which was Dragon's Breath, because that means anything I bring into play is not going to have haste. She has a Spear of Heliod, so we get beat down pretty handily here. Play out the Oath, and then fetch into a Tropical Island. I do Brainstorm there, so I don't have another fetch. I don't have another Shuffle effect and 2 blue mana that are going to come into play untapped. You could say yes, you have Shuffle effect in Sea Beyond, but Sea Beyond and Shelldock Isle are not going to be able to happen in the same turn, so I'm going to be drawing 2 of them regardless. So I'm looking for some way to stay alive. Council's Judgment's a huge time beating here. So what I'm trying to go for now is I'm actually trying. I find Loam. I'm trying to actually find Fast Bond, because I'm going to have Loam here, so that I can go into Loam Recursion of Glacial Chasm at a cost of 1 life a turn. That's kind of my plan. It's not good, but like it's the best plan I've got right now, after losing my Oath to Council's Judgment. So I have Stifle here. I let her do this. I could have actually stopped this with Stifle, but I wanted to let her like search her library and then just stifle it when she found it. She is going to be able to find Wasteland, and she does it here smartly because I'll just get rid of this Glacial Chasm on my turn. I go ahead and look at my top 3 and then just concede it. So, Council's Judgment, very powerful card if you haven't heard the news flash yet. Alright, so this hand basically has everything it possibly could want. We're on the play. We have Forbidden Orchard and an Oath of Druids. So this game's a little more kind of meh because we just have everything in our hand. Like, other than Counter Magic or a Wrath effect, we kind of have all the stuff we need to win. I know the only way she's going to be able to stop this is with a turn 2 Disenchant or a turn 2 Leonin Relic Warder. She goes ahead and dismembers her own thing. I play out the Forbidden Orchard and say, hey, have it. I drew into Force of Will and have a blue card, so I just do that there. I could have reasonably utilized the Mystical Teachings, however, just to find Abrupt Decay to get that thing, but I kind of want to just get her knocked out fast here. She has a Spirit Token. She hits me for 1. She plays Parallax Wave, which is a fine card. I'm going to find Runescarred Demon, though, which, depending on what I mill, is going to be able to likely get rid of the Parallax Wave. So I mill a lot of my library at this point and lose the answer that I wanted, which was Beast Within. But I do get Yawgmoth's Will off the Runescarred Demon, which is good enough because I'll cast Yawgmoth's Will just to recast one singular spell, which in this case is Beast Within. So, opponent also gets rid of our 5/5 flyer. Attacks us for 1. We're not going to mill our whole library. That would be bad. Go ahead and Yawgmoth's Will for essentially 1 spell, which is Beast Within. And then we're getting an Emrakul hit in here, and we're finding Mana Drain just to lock the game up in case, she has something. So, any way you look at it, I think all of these games were actually fairly well contested. I think Oath is a very powerful deck and card and deck archetype. However, I do think that that you were able to see that like White Weenie can still fight this. It can still beat it. And I think we had some pretty interesting games. That first game was stellar. Like I think not to toot my own horn, I think I played it very well. I think she did as well, but I think we played it decently well, and despite some very significant variance involving milling my whole library with the exception of my last card, with Oath is not likely, but it does happen from time to time, and it happened there. But we played in a way that allowed us to play around that occurrence, which I think was pretty strong. So this last game, obviously, just our hand was the nuts. Had Oath, had Forbidden Orchard, had everything we needed to set it up. Drew into Force of Will to stop anything that can stop Oath, and well, from there the game became fairly academic because I guess outside of maybe the Yogg Will play, I mean, we knew we had to get Yogg Will because we needed to remove that enchantment to win in a timetable that was appropriate. But otherwise, I think very sweet games, and I hope you guys enjoyed them. And hopefully we'll be playing some more Oath soon, so you can see some more of it. Pretty cool to have Oath back in the format, and get to run it, because I think it does offer some pretty cool deck archetypes like this Bug Loam list right here that are unique but also very powerful and singular on their own. All right, guys, take care now and enjoy.